Welcome everyone, and now calling this meeting to order. Please stand with us. We'll be led in prayer by Alderman Gallagher. After that, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. It'll be led by Alderman Payne.
Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for your presence here tonight. Lord, we thank you for a country that we can live in that's free. Lord, we thank you for the ability to worship freely in this country. Lord, we thank you for the wisdom that you've given us, Lord, and we pray that you would continuously put your spirit in us. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda this evening is approval of minutes for the September 4, 2018 meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 4th, 2018 with any additions, deletions, or corrections. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is authorization to seek bids for fire department uniforms. Mr. Dick Manley.
This is just authorization to go seek the bids with the fire department uniforms, which we have to go through the reverse bidding for that as well. So tonight, you authorization to seek the bids for the uniforms and allow central bidding to assist the city in procuring the uniforms for the bids.
I'll make that motion, Mayor. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. And next on the agenda is bids for the asphalt truck and dump truck.
Yeah, the city previously went to bid on this item and only received one bid. And tonight, the recommendation from the Public Works Department is to reject all bids, or reject the bid, and based on only receiving one bid and allowing for hopefully getting more bids in the next bid, going to bid. So tonight, authorization to reject all bids allowed by the specs and to go to rebid it with central bidding, using central bidding as the entity to help with the reverse auctions.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion?
And what will be the difference in the process this time?
I don't think it'd be any difference. I think it'd just be better understanding on everybody's part as far as the bidders and the city goes to get more bids in. I don't know if there's any confusion created or not, but I think that that was one of our first times to use the reverse auction. So I think this will allow for better understanding not only on the city but the bidders as well to try to get a more competitive price amongst the entities bidding on the trucks.
Thank you.
With the same specs, right?
Same specs.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for donations.
Yeah, this resolution just lists all the donations as part of the budget along with the rental donations and the statutory authority for each. So since the budget was passed at the previous meeting, this resolution will be passed tonight to establish the contributions from the city this year along with the rental donations as well.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for Southampton Police Department surplus.
This resolution just will surplus items that are no longer useful to the city and have no intrinsic value to the city as well. And tonight authorize surplus under 172525.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the surplus property in the police department as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution to surplus property in our Information Technology and Emergency Communications Department.
Same same resolution, different resolution, but it's a different department, but the same concept, surplusing property under 172525 as we go.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is an agreement with the Mississippi Public Broadcasting Foundation.
And this agreement will allow the city to enter into a contract with the Mississippi Public Broadcasting Foundation, which will provide radio ads and TV ads for the city, promote the city. They have made a couple small minor changes to the contract. They agreed to those changes. So tonight, authorization to allow the mayor to sign this contract with the Mississippi Public Broadcasting Foundation for the promotion of the city, along with making the finding that we could use the tourism money, I mean not tourism money, but the promotion of the city money from the hotel motel tax, or under 1711 in the city code, which allows us to use money to promote the city in favorable light. So tonight, bring this contract in front of the city for approval. Any questions, can to answer those.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. I'll start the discussion just to add one thing. One of the reasons that I think this is valuable for us, and we appreciate Alderman Hoots bringing this forward so we could review it. Chris Wilson did speak with the representative here and asked many questions about the value that we would get for our advertising dollar. We feel like it would be really good because a lot of this market includes Mobile, Alabama, where you have one of the largest tennis operations ever. I think they have 60 public tennis courts in Mobile. It's a great tourism draw for their city. So with us having television visibility in Mobile, we believe that it ties in nicely with someone seeking tennis opportunities in our new tennis complex. So that's not the only reason we're doing it. We're looking for a total city promotional value, but we do specifically believe that it will have a special benefit with the tennis niche. Any other discussion?
Mississippi Public Broadcasting is known for all of the, I don't want to say local, but I guess it's for its own programming that it does. And it's seen throughout the state and, like you said, in different other states, bordering. So I think it's a fantastic idea to market the city this way.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution converting liens to assessments.
This is our annual resolution that we, the lots have been cut pursuant to 21-1911. We file liens on those throughout the year. This will allow those liens to be converted to assessments so that the city will recoup its money through a tax assessment as opposed to the lien. So tonight, we need authorization for the mayor to sign this resolution converting the liens to assessments for the lots that were cut pursuant to 21-1911.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt the resolution, the Mayor Board of Aldermen of the City of Southaven adjudicating the cost of cleaning property, imposing a penalty, and imposing assessment of the same property as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion among the board? Hearing none, is there anyone in the audience that has a financial interest in any of the properties that would like to speak? Hearing or seeing none, roll call please.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Next on the agenda is an agreement with Walgreens for flu shots for employees.
Okay, this agreement will allow Chris Wilson to sign this agreement with Walgreens to allow for flu shots to employees. There's no cost to the city. They'll bill the insurance company. We need authorization for Chris Wilson to sign this agreement with Walgreens for the flu shots for the employees.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next on the agenda is a contract with Baker Services Company for meter reading.
Yeah, this is our professional service contract with Baker Services. The current contract for meter reading for the water meters, current contract runs out September 30th tonight. Need authorization to enter a new contract for the mayor to sign. It's the same terms as the previous contract, same price as last year for those meter reads. And tonight, the authorization for him to sign a one-year contract, the option to extend for 2 additional one-year terms, and to continue with Baker meter reading, or Baker Services to do the meter reading for the city of Southaven.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion?
When will this be phased out because of the new motion you put in?
We're in the process now of planning, as we have been for a few years, planning the AMR, automated meter reading. But until then, there's still some time that we need until we're ready to fully implement that. So we would have this contract in place, and then we'll do a transition over to the automated meter reading program.
Thank you.
Do we have that? What is our, Ray, can you tell, what is our timeline on that?
I'll be bringing something to the committee, the Water and Sewer Committee. here
Okay.
Real soon.
So we'll bring some updated information as far as time, those specific timelines at the next committee meeting update. But this would just be transitional. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is a resolution to clean private property.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt the resolution granting authority to clean private property as presented on the state.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion among the board? Hearing none, is there any discussion from anyone in the audience that has a financial interest with any of the properties? Hearing or seeing none, roll call please.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Next on our agenda is the planning agenda. Is there anything? Nothing on our planning agenda. Next on our agenda is mayor's report. I have several things I want to update everyone on tonight. I'll start with just giving a thank you to Alderman Wheeler. I know he can't be with us tonight because he's helping people with hurricane relief, so we appreciate his efforts in helping those in need out there on the East Coast. So thank you, Alderman Wheeler. Next, just to update everyone with the recently adopted budget, we did plan for $2 million on our streets improvement line. Recently, the state legislature did pass the BP bill. In that bill, the city of Southaven received an additional $500,000, as did many projects throughout the state of Mississippi. What we'll do with that money will be a reimbursement type thing. We did already have streets allocated to be applied to Greenbrick and Carriage Hills. It was kind of strange. Some of the people at the Department of Revenue indicated they'd never seen it done like this before. Usually when the city receives money, it's towards a specific project. But this was targeted that we have to spend the money on streets in Greenbrick and Carriage Hills, but that's okay. We appreciate the money. We definitely have streets there that need work. We actually already had, I think it was $717,000 allocated towards streets in Greenbrick and Carriage Hills. So they were already set for money to be spent there. But what this does is frees us up. We can spend money, move some of the other streets from 2020 up the list. So we appreciate that $500,000. So just wanted to let you know that our budget went from 2 to 2.5 because of that money. I will, in the very near future, be sending out that information to the board members just to give you a list of the FY19 plan, the streets that are on there. We're getting all those, the pricing finalized on all of it now, so as soon as we get that done, I will send it out to all of you. While we're talking about streets, just a quick update on Rasco. I think everybody in the city knows that, that we're doing a seal coat program on Rasco. Forgive me for smiling a little bit. This is really a simple thing. We're trying to improve the streets in the city, and I'm not trying to make, don't misunderstand me, I'm not trying to make light of the inconvenience. Streets, when they're being redone, it's inconvenient always. This one was a little bit more inconvenient because with the seal coating process, the initial layer is put down to seal the cracks in the road. They have to, because it's slick, they have to come back and put a form of gravel over the top of that for safety to keep people from sliding on the road until the sealant cures, which is about 3 to 5 days. As all of you know, that gravel that went down there, it was put on a little bit too thick by the contractor, which caused an unusual amount of smoke and inconvenience. So that's what the deal was. But just to clarify, there's nothing that's going to put anyone's health at risk. I've seen a lot of comments recently. This is just a road, guys. It's not going to put anybody's health at risk. It is inconvenient. After we put the gravel down, then we came over the top of it with another epoxy, just to eliminate the smoke, and then we're going to put a final layer on that that's scheduled to be done Friday. So the micro seal layer that will make it look like a new road is scheduled to go down either Friday or Monday. So that will be resolved. Until then, we do know that when the last epoxy was put over the top of it, there was a section of it, there was not lanes that were not properly blocked. They were properly blocked off. But there was a section under the bridge, right there at the, just on the east side of the high school, the Interstate 55 bridge. Because it was out of the sunshine, there was a little section that didn't cure and dry properly. So a few cars did ride over that. They did get tar in their wheels. I know Alderman Kelly and Alderman Payne have been contacted by some. So we will hold the contractor accountable for that. Most of it is not permanent damage. I've received several emails that they feel like they're going to have new tires. From what I understand, that's not the case. It did not permanently damage your tires. They can be cleaned. So what will happen is I've asked our city clerk's office to manage the claims because I want to have my hands on it. I want to make sure that we do get everybody taken care of. The contractor has already given us contact information to send it to them, and they will take responsibility for cleaning the tires. Or any other claims that were resulting from that. But again, if y'all will help me direct those to the city clerk's office, our city clerk's office will then turn around and send that to the contractor. And the reason I want to do it that way, again, is just to make sure that that we verify that any claims are resolved, by the city through the contractor. But anyway, road construction, I know, and I'm going to thank this board again. We share that goal of being aggressive in improving the streets in our city. We've proven that over the last 3 to 5 years. We've spent an enormous amount of money, more than ever in the city's history, in getting the streets in better condition. The bad side of that is that it is inconvenient when they're being repaired. So I just ask again for everyone's patience. It's just a few days, and that it's going to be nice. That little section of Rasco from the high school to Airways, is the last section of Rasco Road that hasn't been resurfaced all the way from Highway 51 to Getwell in the last 3 years. So that's going to be a very nice east-west thoroughfare, but it's just a little temporary period of inconvenience. All right, moving on from that, happy to report that recent reports indicate that our sales tax and tourism tax continues to increase. Our projected total for sales tax in FY18 is $14,789,000. That continues to increase each year. It shows the economic success of our city, and we're proud to announce that. The tourism tax also continues to rise. In September, it was $165,000. That is the hotel, motel tax and the restaurant tax, and that's projected to annualize at almost $2 million. So y'all know just from our discussions over the last 3 years, that was from about 1.6 3 years ago to almost 2 million now. So it's continuing to increase with the increase in restaurants and just the general improvement in our tourism draw, people getting out and using the hotels and restaurants. We have a new program with Serve Southaven called Adopt a Spot. I don't have to explain to this board how we've struggled trying to find help for the subdivision entrances that do not have an HOA. It's very frustrating for us when we're trying to improve the look of the city and we have a piece of private property that we can't legally touch. So we've been looking for ways for about 3 years now to get people to volunteer and try to help us maintain those entrances. And this Adopt a Spot program, we believe will be incredible with that. We've got some signs made to recognize those that volunteer. Just so everyone knows, this can be as simple and as elaborate as you want it to be. Basically, just trimming the hedges, pulling the weeds out of the flower bed, that's a simple start. But if someone wants to plant flowers, remulch, things like that, it just improves the look of our city and is a part of our beautification program. We do have our first volunteer at Brentwood Farms. So the Bart Talota, if I'm saying that correctly, family has agreed to adopt that entrance, and so we're proud of them. We'll be getting their sign made quickly. Just some of the others that are in this situation, they don't have an HOA, no one's maintaining the entrance. The Grove at Central Park, there's 2 entrances on Tullahoma. We need somebody to step up and help us with that. Shelburne Estates is a subdivision on Getwell, just south of State Line. It's in horrific condition. Anyone wants to volunteer for that, that would be extremely helpful. And then another on the western end of State Line Road, the Highlands of North Creek, and actually the original North Creek subdivision where the golf course is. Both of those have been neglected. So if anyone knows someone that would be willing to step up and volunteer, we appreciate any effort there. Greenbrick Indoor Training Facility was one of the first things that we all agreed on for our parks expansion plan. We've had that designed, so just a quick, I just want to show you a few pictures tonight. Basically, if you look at the screen, if we can go back to where we were, these are just this is being coordinated in with the colors that are already at the park. Greenbrick Park has green roofs and it's green and white. So this facility will be an indoor training facility that will have batting and pitching cages for girls softball. It will also have an entryway where you have a check-in desk. It'll have bathrooms there. I'll show you that in just a minute. And it's also something where the net could be removed, so it could be conducive to like birthday parties, things like that for our citizens. But I'm very proud of the way it's designed. Urban Arc did a great job with it. Just a little sneak peek, but you can see the back. It's going to be gray with a little piece of green and white mixed in, so it matches the color scheme at Greenbrick. But it's just a very simple constructed building. And if we can move up to the next, that way you just kind of take a gander at what it's going to look like. The stairs will go up. The stairs you see will go up to like a balcony where parents, grandparents could get up there and watch their children perform in the cages if they choose to. And then if we can keep going. One more, please. And then scroll down, please. Okay, and then this, or up a little bit more. First page there has elevations of the interior layout. Okay, this is hard to see, but basically the horizontal, I'll just point it out to you. if everyone can still hear me. These are the actual cages right here, and they'll have temporary netting, so the netting could be adjusted with mobile pitching machines for the girls. If you want to work on pitching or hitting, you can have a pitcher actually throwing, or you can have a machine throwing balls to the girls. Then all this netting can be taken to the ceiling where it opens up a turf, wide open turf area. And then when you come here, this is the entryway. You can come in, there's going to be a desk there for check-in when the teams come in to play tournaments at Greenbrick. They'll come in and pay their entry fee right here. If they want to bring their team in to take some BP for the game, they can do that. Then you have your office, and then you have bathrooms on the first, and then the stairs will go up to the balcony. I think that's shown over here. But anyway, I just wanted to show everybody a sneak peek of that. Wes Brown and I have met with Urban Art. Love the look of it. I hope you do too. The details are being worked out exactly how it'll be placed. I can tell you that it's going to be placed at the entrance in the middle parking lot. So when you come in off of Greenbrick Parkway, you'll drive straight into it in that parking lot. We're just shifting them. We're trying to find out how we got to shift the building to make it all fit, but that's the location of it. So in the very near future, that would go out to bid. Any questions or comments about that?
I got a question. So originally you had it was going to be on the north end of like ball field 1, but it's not going to be there anymore.
No, we realized that there could be some flooding issues on one end. We had some open area there where we thought we could put it, but we felt like this is going to be better because that area had some flooding issues.
Which end would be the entrance?
Well, both of them are, the Sweeney or Greenbrick Parkway are the entrances, but Greenbrick Parkway would be considered the main entrance.
I mean, which on the building is the north elevation or the south would be the entrance of the building, the official entrance?
Well, it's going to be, it depends how we shift it yet. If it's probably going to be, the building is going to be laid out. It's going to be laid out parallel to Stowewood Drive. So the building is probably going to be going east and west, which would make your entrance to the north, which is towards the main gate. We're trying to make it conducive to where when the teams check in at the main gate, they'll walk right in the entryway door. And then the back of it does have a dressing room right here. This is for the umpires.
Okay.
And I know umpires need to be able to escape sometimes, so,
I understand.
right, Alderman Brooks?
That's right.
So this is going to be at the back of the building, kind of hidden, kind of shielded with a sidewalk so they can get back to the field.
And just the green, there's just one panel on the wall that's going to be green, is that?
Well, we tried to, we mimicked a little bit Oxford's indoor facility. It's a gray facility. Theirs is gray and red. So we tried to make it more neutral color so it fit with what's out there now. We didn't want to overdo it with green.
Well,
Yeah. So we did kind of, and I'm not the architect, but from what the architects told us, they mixed in like a little area. There's a little weave in also in the back that you can see it's a gray, gray and white weave. And that's just to kind of mix in to kind of help it meet the color scheme of the other buildings that are out there now. But it's mostly gray. The bottom of it has a brick base, but that will be like kind of like an off-white brick color, so it kind of fits. This is something, we've talked about this a long time, y'all know that. I know since 2013, we felt like we wanted to give the girls their own space. We have the indoor facility at Snowden, where we have the cages, the batting machines and all that, but the girls really do need to have their own training facility there. So personally, I'm very excited we're finally able to make it happen.
I think it's great that we're doing it, but with it being at the very front, I don't want it to be an eyesore, especially to all the homes, because that's an entire neighborhood. That's
Right, now it's not at the front. When you come in Greenbrick Parkway, you'll dead into this. So that it's actually in the center of the park. So when you turn off Greenbrick Parkway,
on the Stowewood.
Right. Well, before you get to Stowewood, you can get it. You turn in the parking lot. If you just made a beeline straight, when you turn, you'll run right into the front door.
Okay.
So it's not on Greenbrick Parkway. It's at the end of the parking lot.
Okay.
I think I may have Michael, would you shift? I may have had I don't know if I included that, but a diagram of where it's located.
I don't think we have it on this computer.
Okay, I mean, I did this in a hurry, but anyway, it's not on Greenbrick Parkway, it's in the middle of the park. So when you dead, like I said, when you go in the park lot, you'll dead into the building. I think it's gonna fit and look nicely. But I'll gladly show you, send you the other diagram.
Okay, please do, I'm interested to see it.
And we want it to be, make sense from a walkability. We want the teams, when they check in, to be able to go there and then walk, on a sidewalk from there to the entrance. And so it'll be laid out there where there's a, landscape sidewalk there where they can do that. Okay, any other comments or questions about that? Okay, last thing is on the Highway 51 intersection modernization plan that we've been talking about for 2 years. That is now to the point where work will begin there in about 2 weeks. So everything has been bid awarded. So in about 2 weeks they'll start that process. Okay, that's all I have this evening. Next on the agenda is our citizens agenda. We did not have anyone that signed up to speak.
Hey, Mayor, before you go, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Everybody was concerned about striping, and you did a great job on getting Rasco striped, and it looked great.
Mhm.
Now that they have all this tar and gravel and stuff, it's gotten on to the new asphalt and turned one of the yellow lines totally black and that kind of stuff. Can we see about them cleaning that stuff off? And
Most of it will wear off. Is Dan here?
Yes.
Well, that'll wear off with vehicle traffic.
And if it doesn't, whenever we get it restriped, we'll have them stripe it.
Yeah.
I was
Most
talking-
of what you're seeing is like, they're tracking it from.
Yeah, there it is.
Right.
It's caking up on top of the asphalt and that kind of stuff. I didn't know if it's gonna mess up the asphalt or not.
No, most of that will either wash off or be worn off.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's some bubbled, like in some of the lanes, I guess where it came off the tread, there's bubbled, you can tell if you, and it, I didn't know if it would meld into the asphalt that's there or if it'll end up just kind of smoothing out.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're gonna watch that, and again, back to, that's one thing you just reminded me of one other thing I did want to remind everybody. When something like this happens with a contractor, when something goes a little bit foul, or we're not happy with the work, we are looking at that. Like, I'll get I'll get emails sometimes, and people ask me if I know about this. I mean, I can promise you I know about it. I mean, I'm riding the road myself. I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm a perfectionist. Dan Cordell knows that. I'm a perfectionist. If something's not right, I'm on. So long before the first person made a comment on Rasco Road, I can promise you that I was already looking at that. But the reason I tell you that is we will monitor the road after the finished product is done. We'll go back and look at the other road and make sure that it's not, compromised in any way. You want to speak?
I would like to ask a question.
Sure.
I would like to know if, you said you're gonna continue to monitor, which was one of my questions, but the next thing is, how much of that $700 and something thousand that we've got planned to go into Greenbrick and Carriage Hills is gonna be done this same way, and are we gonna not do them because of this fiasco that we've had with Rasco?
Yeah, and I wouldn't, forgive me, but I wouldn't call it a fiasco. I know that it didn't go down exactly like it should. We're gonna do some things differently. They actually made a mistake on the amount of gravel they put down. That's why you saw the dust. So from now on, it can be done where we minimize that, which takes away a lot of the negatives that you saw in Rasco. But yes, and again, that's my point, when we see things like that, we're monitoring the quality of it too. We know that it was offensive the way the smoke was. We're gonna stop that from that, yes. There's a better way to do that, to monitor them. The process is still good. It's just, we're gonna monitor the quality of their work a little better. But and I didn't answer your other question about how much of that is seal coating, how much is asphalt. There's a mix of both. I can tell you just by knowing the list, the overwhelming majority of that is new asphalt because the streets are so bad in Greenbrick, Carriage Hill.
What determines, just because of my ignorance, I don't know what you use to determine, but what made the determination that little section between the interstate and airways would be seal coated as opposed to asphalt, which everything else for the last 3 years has been?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. I did post that. on Twitter and social media to try to get that word out, but thank you for helping me get the word out. It's real simple. Some parts of the road have deteriorated more than others. So seal coating can only be used when the road is in fairly good condition. It just needs a top coat. When a road has had water get in the cracks and really destroy the road itself, it has to be overlaid. So Rasco, for example, from Highway 51 to the high school was in horrific condition. I mean, it had so many potholes, it was so bad. It didn't qualify for seal coating. It had to have new asphalt. The area from the high school to Airways was totally different. It did have some little spots that had to be patched, but for the most part, the road was in much better condition. The reason we do that, it just comes down to saving taxpayers money. I can tell you just by doing the math and knowing just the section of road that was seal coated, if we had put new asphalt on that, would have been over 200 grand just for that little section. The cost of seal coat is about 60,000. So you take that and multiply that throughout the entire city, you're saving a significant amount of money. You can put new asphalt in an average size cove for $15,000. So think about how many coves you could pave for that amount of money you're saving by doing seal coating rather than new asphalt.
Again, I don't know a lot about it, but the seal coating is being used. Is this seal coating a new way of doing this?
No, it's not. It's new to Southaven, but it's not new. It's used frequently. People use this for the reasons I just mentioned because it's a great way to extend the lifespan of your roads without having to put new asphalt on them. But it's not new. I mean, there are not a lot of contractors here that do that. We actually, when we bid it each year, are going to be looking for other options to find out, who is available that we can use. But it's not a new process, just new to Southaven.
But you're going to continue to monitor, and like this turns out, we have to be back here next month. Well, is there a way to get out of this contract that we have for the 700 and something thousand if this seal coating doesn't pan out to be what we thought?
Well, we don't have to do anything. I mean, we'll I mean, we're not going to, if something goes, again, that's why I tell you, we're monitoring that. If we see something going bad, we're going to put the brakes on and stop that. But just to assure you, the process, there's nothing wrong with the process. It's the right process. What we did is the correct way to do it. Again, it was just some poor judgment, some mistakes made by the contractors, and that's why we're going to hold them accountable. I will tell you this, and anyone in here ever built a house? Raise your hand if you built a house before. When you build a house or build anything, a lot of hands touch it. When you resurface a road, a lot of hands touch it. I don't know the people that did the work. I've never met them. I didn't even know their name. We're going to hold them accountable, but a lot of people touch a construction project. And so I would be misleading you if I told you there's never going to be a mistake before. And this one did get a lot of attention, but I can assure you that Dan Cordell and I almost daily run into mistakes by contractors. I mean, we're doing that. Now, we don't publicize it. That's our job. We do it. So it's not uncommon at all to see mistakes like this made. But we're going to stay on top of it. And if there's something that's wrong and can be done better, we're going to change that. But to answer your question, yes, we're going to continue to use it. There will be some, maybe in Greenbrick, that have it. But we will continue to use the process because of the financial benefits of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question. Any other discussion? Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak?
2152 Kelowna Hills is an eyesore.
Where's that?
2152 Kelowna Hills is an eyesore to the neighborhood.
Okay, where's specific? I don't know the numbers.
It's right there at Kelowna Hills and Charleston. You turn off Kelowna Hills and go north over Charleston. It's on your left-hand side. You can't miss it. He's got a big garage back there, and he's working on cars.
Oh, you're talking about from a code enforcement issue?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I'm aware of that one. That actually is in the process of it's already been a violation has been given. It's in the court process now. Yeah. And since you brought that up, just a little quick, I'm gonna move real fast. A lot of times people contact us. They contact the aldermen, and they say nothing's been done about this house or this and that. And it looks that way, I understand it looks that way, but there is a process. When we go out to a home that's a potential violation of a code, there's a warning that's given. When that warning is done, there's a reasonable amount of time for them to correct the issue, and then a citation is given. After the citation is given, then it's in our court process. So there is a time frame when it's in court that we've done our part. We get it to the court, and there's an amount of time. But I know it looks like nothing's been done, but I can tell you, because I know that one, I can tell you that that is in the court process. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on. Next on the agenda is our personnel document.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the personnel documents presented on the state.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Who.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Yes. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Next on the agenda is our city attorney's legal update.
Two quick items. First item, claim filed against the city for claims for $1.60. The individual who lives at 5616 East Point Drive. Recycling was not picked up one week, and recycling was not working that week, so he wanted a reimbursement for the $1.60 for that week. So authorization to reduce his utility bill by $1.60 for the next utility bill. That's what the board wants to do. Yeah, I know. I was willing to do the same thing.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion?
That's the week the recycling was shut down or something like that, so you couldn't do it, so $1.60 credit. But legally, we have to have the approval of the board.
Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Who.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Yes. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries.
Next is approval of contract with Lewis and Ellis, and I think Chris Wilson may have briefed the board on this in the past, but this will allow for the city to comply with the liability for the gas B75 on the insurance reimbursement program for our police and fire departments. So tonight, the authorization for Chris to sign this with the Lewis and Ellis is a actuary consulting group. And it would be $4,500 for the 2018 FY and $4,500 for 2019 FY. So it'd be $9,000 total, and they will work with Chris and E on making sure we're in compliance with that gas 75 standard for the accounting, and authorize Chris to sign it and to make the payments upon completion of the reports in 2018 and 2019.
So moved.
Second.
This is the actuary comes from.
Correct. We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Who.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Can you discuss the retiree health insurance? We're going to do the retiree health insurance. Chris?
That was it.
Is that all of it?
That was the reimbursement, that was it.
Okay, just to let everybody know then that will make it where, it's open.
Do we need to, we need to take that off the table?
Well, that was my point, is that get rid of the freezing of it, correct?
Times with gas, we do unfreeze. So yeah, what the board did was locked it down last board meeting. That in effect allows us to proceed with it now that we'll come actuarially and accounting wise compliant.
So we don't need to make a motion to open it back up?
Well, I mean, I guess.
I
you
would,
should
since
go
you're all
ahead and-
here. I didn't know that's what we're doing. Yeah, since you're all here, it's in the meeting night, we're doing it this way. Go ahead and make a motion to open it back up.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
To open it back up.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Brooks, and basically what this is, recently, we made the decision to suspend the retiree health insurance benefit until we got more information from actuaries. We're comfortable with that now, so the motion, correct, Alderman Flores, is to
Allow them to-
unsuspend.
yeah, Unsuspend.
Unsuspend,
That's
okay.
correct.
Yeah, I sent out all the details on it 2 weeks ago. The estimate's gonna be about $3.5 million liability, which is not a liability, but it's the way it'll be booked.
We booked as liability.
So we had that motion by Alderman Flores and second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler? Alderman Flores?
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Next on the agenda is our claims docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the claims docket in the amount of $1,101,419.71, including domain tax.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler? Alderman Flores?
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Next on the agenda is to determine the need for executive session.
So moved.
We have a motion by Alderman Kelly, second by Alderman Gallagher. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The need this evening is economic development with potential industry and business locating in the city, claims and litigation against the city, and personnel and parks. Is there a motion to declare executive session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Payne. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The mayor and board will now enter executive session.
I'll let you know.
No.
Give me that.
No.
I'll-
It's like